His heart beat faster and faster. It pounded in his ears, but he didn't care about the feeling. Okay then, Jinwoo realized someone was coming, and called his shadow soldiers back. He heard a sound as a helicopter from the Hunters Association of Japan landed nearby, and Jinwoo was glad to get on board. Now it was time to go home. The Japanese government gave Jinwoo a nice room in a fancy hotel. He had planned to refuse their offer of a place to stay because he could use a special ability to travel instead of waiting for an airplane. But he agreed after they asked him nicely. Please stay. They said, we would be embarrassed if we didn't treat the person who helped our country well. This was the first time he had ever been in a hotel room that cost so much money. 4 million won each night. He was really surprised by how big his room was, and that he had it all to himself. Everything looked new, like it had just been bought. He walked to the window, and looked out over the city's center. A nice view often made a property worth more, and he thought this view was worth the high price of the room. He couldn't believe magical creatures had nearly destroyed this beautiful city. Jinwoo frowned as he remembered what Tokyo had looked like, but he was happy he'd gotten to Japan when he did. I should go to sleep now. After sleeping outside for many days, a night in a hotel felt wonderful. The next day, people from the Hunters Association of Japan came to take Jinwoo to the airport. Good day, Hunter Sung, his guide greeted him, speaking perfect Korean. A car is ready to take you to the airport, and it was about time. Jinwoo was getting tired of waiting in the hotel room. He picked up the bag he had thrown in the corner. Let's go. Oh. The guide seemed worried as Jinwoo started to leave. Hunter Sung, do you not have another set of clothes? Jinwoo understood why the guide asked. His clothes were covered in blood and sweat from the battle. He had tried to be careful, but it was impossible to avoid getting blood on his clothes when fighting the giants. Jinwoo shrugged because all the clothes he had brought were equally dirty. The guide smiled and asked, would you like me to find you something clean to wear today? That sounded very good to Jinwoo. Jinwoo didn't want to walk around with blood on his clothes if he could avoid it, and he definitely didn't want to be hidden and rushed through the airport like someone who was doing something wrong. The guide laughed when he saw Jinwoo's face. We will find you some clean clothes right away. Please wait here. 10 minutes later, a group of men walked into the room, each carrying several suits. That was quick. The handler noticed Jinwoo looked surprised and happily explained. We had these ready just in case. Jinwoo was very surprised as he looked at all the suits neatly arranged by size and color. They had prepared very carefully. And if you need anything else, Jinwoo said with a wave. No. Thank you. He was very happy with how well they had treated him, and was grateful for all the work the Hunters Association of Japan had done. Jinwoo looked over the clothes, and chose the one that he thought would fit him the best. He tried on the clothes and looked at himself in the mirror. Maybe it was because the clothes were so well made, but he looked like a completely different person. He thought it looked good. He couldn't help but smile. He turned around and the guide said, that looks perfect on you. Hunter Sung, we should leave now. I understand. The hotel staff took care of my bags. 2 men came in and picked up my things. It seemed like the Hunters Association of Japan really wanted to make sure I didn't have to do anything myself. I left the fancy hotel and appreciated their kindness, then got into a black car to go to the airport. As we got closer to the airport, I understood why the Hunters Association of Japan was so worried about how I looked. Through the window, he saw huge groups of people. Jinwoo was amazed. His guide said excitedly, they're all here to see you, Hunter Sung. There were far too many people for this to be a small gathering. Do you know how many there are? We think there are more than 100,000. That many. The car carrying Jinwoo drove down the blocked-off road safely. The vehicle turned a corner and showed an even larger group of people waiting to greet Jinwoo. You're the hero who saved Japan, Hunter Sung. Jinwoo thought he had just done what anyone could do. But really, no one else could have done what he did. People in Japan were very upset after seeing the giant monsters on social media, on television, and in real life. They had lost hope. Instead of helping Japan, most countries agreed that there was nothing more they could do. But then, President Gun Hee-go of the Hunters Association from nearby Korea, a very famous person, made an announcement. There is one hunter who wants to fight the giants. People in Japan watching the news on television were very excited. Who is this hunter? Someone asked. President Go leaned close to the microphone and said, Hunter Jinwoo Sung. Everyone knew about Jinwoo's brave actions on Jeju Island, so they all started cheering. He was their final hope. A week later Jinwoo was going home, and he had kept his promise to remove the giants from the country. Many people in Japan came to say goodbye. His guide explained that even more people would have come, if they weren't busy fixing the areas that had been damaged. Then the guide asked for something. The Prime Minister wants to meet you, Hunter Sung. Would you be able to spend some time with him? This was the most serious look Jinwoo had ever seen on his guard, and Hunter thought someone important had asked him to request this meeting. Jinwoo didn't want to do things he didn't feel were important, so he said what he usually said. I don't want to spend my time on things that aren't needed. The handler smiled and nodded, amused by how determined Jinwoo was. Okay, I understand. As they chatted, the car arrived at the gate. Jinwoo got out, calm and collected as always. When he appeared, the crowd burst into applause. Jinwoo looked around at all the people. Hunter Sung! Hunter Jinwoo Sung! Even though he didn't understand what they were saying, Jinwoo could tell how they felt by their voices, their expressions, and their hand movements. They were very thankful and really looked up to him. Uru watched everything from behind Jinwoo. My king, these people are promising to be loyal to you. Someone said. That's not quite right. I said, you should wave to them and show you know, they are there, my king. But it wasn't like that at all. Where was Baru learning to say things like this? But a thought came to him before he could ignore the ant. Do the other ants enjoy it when you do that? Jinwoo could almost see the proud look on Baru's face as the ant spoke with pride. Of course, my king. Jinwoo should have known that because Baru could make the ant soldiers feel braver with just one loud call. Jinwoo thought to himself, if even a tiny ant could manage something, then he could definitely say hello to the people who came to see him. He turned to face the crowd, slowly lifted his hand, and waved it back and forth. The clapping and cheering got louder and louder. Everyone was shouting with excitement. As Hunter Sung bowed, he saw even his guide was clapping, and had tears in his eyes. Thank you. People called. Thank you, Hunter Sung. Thank you so much. The guide wiped his eyes with his sleeve, and waved for Jinwoo to follow him. Let's go, Hunter Sung. Your airplane is leaving soon. Jinwoo put his hand down, but people kept clapping. They clapped even after he went inside the airport, and couldn't be seen anymore. 100,000 people watched his plane fly away. The next day, a famous writer in Japan wrote this. If people could choose the country's leader, Japan might have a person from another country as its leader for the first time ever. Christopher Reed woke up suddenly in the middle of the night because of a noise. He was a very skilled hunter, and usually nothing bothered him enough to keep him awake. But something was different tonight. It wasn't that there was too much noise. It was the opposite. Why was it so quiet? He listened carefully, trying to hear something, anything, but there was no sound at all. He pushed off his blanket and opened his bedroom door. Chris didn't see or hear anyone from the house staff, and it felt like the large house was empty and spooky. Chris looked down the hallway, then picked up a glass from a table. He went back to the door and threw the glass down the hall. The glass slipped from his hand, flying through the air before it crashed to the floor and broke into many small pieces without a sound. Something strange had happened. He felt a shiver and his senses told him he was in danger. A danger unlike anything he had felt before. He quickly reached for his nightstand to get his cell phone and the folded note he kept in the drawer. If you ever need help, call this number. President Go of the Hunters Association of Korea will contact you. An assistant director gave this message to a hunter's helper before leaving the house. Chris learned about it later and almost threw it away, but he paused when Chris suddenly thought of Mrs. Sellner. Did she know this would happen? He wasn't sure, but he knew he had to get through this to find out. He turned the paper over. On the back was President Go's phone number. He knew President Go spoke English very well, so talking wouldn't be a problem. If he reached out to President Go, he could get Jinwoo's help. Chris first thought Jinwoo was taking on too much and would fail in Japan. But he changed his mind after seeing Jinwoo fight with his shadow soldiers. Jinwoo was truly strong. Also Mrs. Sellner had already told Chris, Hunter Jinwoo Sung. He might be able to keep you safe. Mrs. Sellner could have been right. Chris started to type in the numbers but stopped when he felt someone nearby. He didn't have time to ask for help, or tell anyone what was happening. Chris put his phone and the note back on the table next to his bed. He stood up straight and slowly turned around. A man with blonde hair was smiling at him. The man had one hand in his pocket, and looked very calm. even though he had come into the home of a very famous and powerful hunter. "Who are you people?" Chris asked. There was one man in front of him, and two more behind him, hiding by the wall. That made 3 men in total. Chris wasn't sure he could handle the person in front of him, and the thought of facing 2 more made him really nervous. He started to sweat. A drop of sweat rolled down his forehead, as the blonde man began to speak. "You won't succeed if you're too kind to people. You who hold a piece of luminosity." His voice sounded odd, not quite like anything Chris had heard before. Was it the language of magical creatures? Chris frowned and shouted, "What are you even talking about?" But the man quickly put a finger to his lips, telling him to be quiet. "Be quiet. I wasn't speaking to you." Chris was surprised to hear the man speak English so well. As far as Chris knew, no one could speak both human languages and the language of magical creatures. The blonde man pointed up to the ceiling again. "Up there. I'm talking to the one who is linked to you." Chris had no idea what the intruder meant, but it was clear the person was talking down to him. Chris's voice started to boom and echo. "Do you think I'm funny?" His eyes flashed red, and his whole body burst into flames and grew bigger, knocking furniture aside. Whoosh! He was soon covered in flames, almost 4 meters tall, and sparks flew from his eyes like a fiery god. "I'm taking at least one of you down with me." Chris punched the wall behind him, and it exploded. Boom! The hole showed 2 more people, who had moved back to avoid being hit. "Is that a spirit form? Can a human even have one?" They watched Chris change with interest. The floor under the hunter started to soften and melt. He decided he would fight with all his strength, something he hadn't done since his fight with Kamish. Whoosh! The flames around him grew bigger and spread to everything nearby. As things in the room disappeared, Chris shouted loudly and made the whole house shake. "Go away, you monsters!" What chance was there that Jinwoo would be sitting next to someone he knew? He walked to his seat in first class with the flight attendant, and he was surprised to see who was already sitting there. "Are you going to say this is just luck?" "I would like it if you thought that, but I guess that's too much to hope for." Jinwoo was always a little surprised when someone with blue eyes spoke Korean so well. He sat down without looking away from the person next to him. "We meet again, Mr. White. It's good to see you again, Hunter Sung." Adam White, a top agent with the Hunter Command Center in the U.S., bowed and smiled at Jinwoo. Jinwoo looked around the airplane cabin. It made sense now. He had noticed 2 strong hunters in the first-class section, and now he understood they were also with the Hunter Command Center. 2 men in black suits looked at him as he approached. Why did all agents, even those watching him from the Hunters Association of Korea, wear black suits? Was it their way of showing everyone what they did? Adam stopped Jinwoo from thinking about it too much. "We had met only once, but you remembered my name. Our first meeting was very noticeable. I'm sorry. We didn't think there would be a hunter who wasn't affected by Mrs. Sellner's." Jinwoo stopped him with a wave of his hand. He had received many apologies from the assistant director that day, so he didn't want to talk about what happened before. He was wondering why the Hunter Command Center had returned after seeming to give up on him. He didn't want to argue with them. "Are we finished talking?" Jinwoo asked softly. Adam's smile disappeared. "I'm sorry for coming without calling, but there's something important I need to discuss with you." Jinwoo remembered hearing about a very powerful magical portal that opened on the east coast of the United States. "Did you have trouble closing that powerful portal too?" Adam hummed in response. "Oh no, that's already been handled." "Then what could this be about?" "Perhaps it has something to do with the defeat of the King of Giants." Adam noticed Jinwoo was interested, so he got his laptop and showed him a video. The video showed thick black smoke that looked like it was from a big fire. Adam gave the laptop to Jinwoo, and the hunter watched the video carefully. The firefighters didn't know how to put out the magical flames, and they were getting bigger quickly. "What's happening with this fire? It won't stop. This isn't a normal fire. Hey you, stay away. You could get burned if a spark touches you." The firefighters were very worried and scared. The fire kept growing no matter what they did to stop it. It spread closer and closer to where they were standing. Burning trees crashed down on other trees, starting a dangerous chain reaction. It was like a huge ocean of flames. "Please let someone help us." "What about help from others? When will the others arrive?" Suddenly a helicopter appeared with people who were trained to fight magical fires. They used water magic to pour lots of water onto the flames. As the water flooded the forest, the fire began to get smaller. Jinwoo watched carefully. These people are very skilled hunters. He could tell by how strong their magic was. Even though they were powerful, they had a hard time putting out the fire. This meant whoever started the fire was very strong too. "Oh, hunters, we are safe. Thank you." The firefighters were very thankful, and then started to finish putting out the remaining flames. If the hunters had arrived just a little later, many of the rescue workers would have been killed.
Go forward, the fire is getting smaller.
It's done. The fire is now under control. The video was almost finished, but Jinwoo was puzzled. Why are you showing me this? Even though the video was interesting, Adam didn't have a reason to show it to him. Adam quickly moved the video to the end. Look at this last part. The firefighters walked further into the burned forest, through the smoke, to find where the fires started. They found a place that had been hit by a strong blast, showing there had been a big explosion. Right in the middle, a person was lying face down, and had died. The large hole in the body where the heart should have been clearly showed the person was gone. To stop the trouble this man caused, we needed 1,800 firefighters and 14 magic experts. And these weren't just any magic experts, but 14 of the most skilled ones. Jinwoo began to guess who the body was. It can't be Adam, sadly confirmed. It was true. I thought you would know who he was. Yes, it's Hunter Christopher Reed. Jinwoo's eyes got very big. This didn't seem right. It meant a very skilled hunter had been killed. We were surprised too, but Mr. Reed was definitely murdered. The video showed a firefighter turning the body over. Jinwoo looked at the injured man. He had a hole in his chest, and many other bad wounds all over his body. Then Adam took out some pictures from his jacket. These pictures show the creature the Hunter Command Center thinks is responsible. Creature, not a human being at all. Jinwoo looked at the pictures, then quickly sat up and used his power to pull Adam closer. Huh, what's happening? Adam was confused as Jinwoo grabbed his shirt. They were very close to each other. Jinwoo growled, "If you are trying to trick me, you won't be able to walk off the plane by yourself." He was serious, and meant what he said. Jinwoo's eyes shone with a wild light. As a tight band squeezed around his neck, Adam shouted, "Don't do it. Don't do it." He wasn't speaking to Jinwoo. The other hunters inside the cabin almost pounced on Jinwoo, but they stopped. Adam's loud shouts stopped them from making the fire bigger. He quickly ran to tell Jinwoo. The monster in the picture came from a dangerous place underground. It might not be who we thought it was. Jinwoo relaxed his hold on Adam's shirt. Adam could breathe easier now and quickly continued. His magical energy is like that of a monster, and he attacked one of our strongest hunters for no reason. Jinwoo looked at the photos Adam had given him. The person in the pictures taken by a security camera was Jinwoo's father. Did my father come out of a dangerous place and attack hunters? Adam gave Jinwoo more details, surprised by his reaction. Do you remember the explosion at the Hunter Command Center? Jinwoo couldn't forget it. The event had worried everyone in the world. People thought it happened because of a secret experiment, that a very powerful hunter had lost control, or that two top hunters had fought each other. Are you saying my father caused that? Adam nodded. He knocked out one of our hunters and then disappeared. The Hunter Command Center followed him secretly, but we couldn't find anything. Not even a small sign of where he went. It was like he vanished completely. Jinwoo listened quietly. I understand how you must be feeling, Hunter sung. But all the clues showed it was him. That man was strong enough to defeat even the most powerful hunters, had already attacked someone, and then disappeared. It made sense for the Hunter Command Center to think this creature was pretending to be All Swan Sung. Even if everything Adam said was true, there was still one question left. Jinwoo looked closely, thinking hard. Why did you bother showing me these pictures? Because of the big hunter meeting. Huh. The leaders of the Hunter Command Center are planning to announce this man as wanted at the meeting, where all the famous hunters from around the world will be, so they weren't going to keep the investigation a secret anymore. The US government was very angry about losing something important and wanted to catch the person who caused it, no matter what. The big meeting of hunters was their best opportunity. When the Hunter Command Center announced that a famous hunter had been attacked, everyone had to pay attention. The Hunter Command Center wants to stay friendly with all of us. Hunter sung. That's why you told me about this person before announcing it to everyone. Adam nodded as much as he could, even though he was being held still. Because you were invited to the same event, it would have been difficult for you. Even if it wasn't really his father, It would still cause problems. They decided to tell Jinwoo about Chris's death, and Il-wan's son coming back, and they wanted to stay on his good side. No one wanted to make him an enemy. Jinwoo was thinking hard. He could tell Adam was telling the truth because of how worried he looked and sounded. Adam didn't want to cause any trouble for Jinwoo. If Jinwoo had felt even a little bit of anger from Adam, he would have immediately done something. But now there was a picture showing the creature that looked like his father stepping on the neck of a hunter named Dong-soo Hong, who was born in Korea but a citizen of the United States. Jinwoo realized why the Hunter Command Center thought this wasn't a person. We hope you understand. We didn't have any other option. Finally, Jinwoo let go of Adam's shirt. The American's face was very red, as he coughed, and tried to breathe. Jinwoo picked up the pictures.